Hey, how's it going? My name is Diego, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a complete tutorial on how to actually upload your type beats and have them optimized for the best chance to get results. I'm also going to be showing you guys exactly how to set up your channel properly, whether that's with the customization, your bio, how to position yourself as a premium, which leads to sales in the long run. I'm going to go over setting up your upload defaults, dialing in your metadata, tags, descriptions, how to do all of this properly, along with giving just a bunch of tips and tricks, free resources, going in depth on the uploading process. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you exactly what not to do. That way, by the time you finish watching this video, you know everything start to finish on exactly what to do and what not to do. So with that being said, let's just dive into the computer and let me show you exactly how we're going to start this off. So I created this board for us that will just kind of walk us through every single step in 4 phases. So as you can see, phase 1 is the channel setup. And so for this, I wanted to start this off with arguably the most important part, which is creating a new Gmail account for a new YouTube channel. Now, you might think this is basic information, but a lot of people have asked me, oh, can I make multiple channels under the same Gmail account? And no, you should not. The reason why, and this is just me looking out for you, but the reason why is if you have multiple channels under one Gmail account and one of those channels was to get taken down from YouTube, YouTube would actually take down all the channels under that Gmail account, which would mean all your channels would get taken down even if they did nothing wrong. And so that's why you want to keep everything separate, and you also want to do this just for like organizational purposes. So it's good to keep everything organized and then also to protect yourself, right? So I wanted to start off the video with that because it's super important, and I don't want you guys getting flagged or taken down and having a whole bunch of issues down the line when you put in all that work to build the channel up. It's happened to me before, so just me looking out. But the next step is going to be creating your channel name. Okay, so you shouldn't overthink this too much, but what I'm about to tell you is primarily for if you're going to start multiple channels. A lot of people will be like, should I have my name and just do my name 2, my name 3, my name 4, like if I have multiple channels? And you can do it that way, but one way that I preferred going about, if we take a look at all my channels, you'll actually see that I named my channels after my producer name, which was Control at the time, and then I would do a description of what the actual type of beat is and then beats. So this formula is pretty good. I wouldn't really call it a formula, but it just keeps everything organized. And as you can see, like the channel banner and the logo was always consistent, right? So every channel I just had a different color, and this is like how I was actually building up the business itself, turning it into more of a professional brand and position myself as a premium, which I'm going to go over in just a bit, but this is kind of what I went for. So Control Rage beats, right? We can go further down, Control Wicked beats. This doesn't really make sense. It was just because that was like a Nardo Wick thing. I don't know. Yeah, I did that in high school. But then we have, if we scroll all the way down, I didn't do this for every channel because some channels I would literally just start up. This one had 7 uploads, 700 subscribers. And for some reason I didn't continue it. Like I said, look, I was 16 when I had this channel. I wasn't thinking straight, but as you can see, you know, Control Hip Hop beats, Control Country beats, it keeps going. But that's just to give you like a rough idea of how you should go about creating your channel name. So I'm not talking about how to name yourself as a producer. You should already have a producer name. And if you don't, just think of something that feels true to yourself. But in terms of like the channel name, that's kind of the process you want to go with when keeping everything consistent. And if you actually want to build a real business off of your beats with the type beat channel. So that's the process I go with. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is creating your branding. Okay, so you want to position yourself as a premium. And most people overlook this. They will start up a channel and they'll have, you know, a bunch of fire emojis and you know, just a bunch of emojis in their titles of the videos or in their bio. And they'll put like the hardest beats and then like the devil emoji and the fire emoji. It's like, come on, man. Like, let's be professional here. So just to shout out a couple of my friends here. I mean, Tequila, he does really good with his branding. I like his profile picture. His channel banner is really good, and it also matches the aesthetic of his type of beats, right? So he does a really good job with this. And then Rodri, my partner, he does really good with his branding. I really like the way he does his thumbnails, his overall aesthetic, and his banner and everything. It positions himself as a premium, right? And his brand actually means something, you know? So this is like, these are just the basics that you might see as, oh, this is basic information, or like, I already know this. Great, just you can skip along, but this is really important to have in place before you go and do everything else, right? Your brand is super important. So I wanted to touch up on that before we dive into some of the more nerdy stuff, because it's really important. Your fundamentals are really important. And if this is a complete tutorial, I wanted to touch up on everything. Okay. All right. So now next, I want to show you guys how to actually customize your your channel's page. Before we dive into the upload defaults and more of like the actual uploading process, the way you customize your page and have your page's layout is really, really important. So I want to touch up on that as well. The reason why this is important is because it can actually cause viewers to go down the rabbit hole a lot easier and a lot smoother than if you were to have it laid out in a different way. So what I'm talking about is if you go to your customization tab in your YouTube Studio and you go to the home tab, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your actual layout. So when you start a brand new channel, you're going to see that the home tab section is probably going to be turned off. So all you have to do is just turn that on. And I'm showing this on my Diego Torres Daily channel, which is where I just answer all your guys' questions. So if you have any questions that you want answered, you can go ahead and check that channel after you watch this video, okay? But this is how you want your channel's layout. You want the videos here, you want your popular videos here, and you don't need to feature any other channel. Obviously, I'm going to feature my main channel because I do want people to also go to my main channel, but chances are you're just going to have one channel. And also, as you may see, like I'm not linking any type B channels, or I'm not linking any other channels that I could have. I don't have any other channels, but the thing is, everything makes sense, right? I, in a way, have a niche. Just like you do with a type B channel, you have a niche. So in my case, I teach people the type beat stuff. I teach people the online beat selling stuff. So I want to link them to my other channel where I talk more about that. So if you're posting type beats, the only way it makes sense to link another channel of yours is if it's in the same niche, okay? Because otherwise, if you're sending people to another channel on a completely different niche, your audience won't care about that, right? They're not going to care, and it's actually going to hurt that other channel's performance. So just looking out with that little tip there. But yeah, this is how you want your channel's layout. Very straightforward, very easy. Now we can move on to the nerdy stuff, which is the upload defaults. So first things first is we're going to just dial in the basics. So we're going to dive into the settings in the bottom left corner, and we're going to go over to general. So make sure that this is just in your currency. I'm in the US, so obviously I have USD, and then you're going to go over to channel next. And of course I'm in the US, so make sure to actually put your country here. A lot of people get this confused, and they'll be outside of the US, but they'll put the US because they think that's going to like promote them to a US audience, or it's going to like put them in the algorithm. And it's like, no, I have friends in the type beat space who are crushing it and are in Brazil, or they're in India, or they're in Europe, right? Like I have people outside of the US that are crushing it more than people in the US. Like, so put your actual country legally, and just, you don't need to lie, right? Just put your actual country, doesn't matter, it won't affect your views, okay? Now, keywords, we're going to touch up on this in just a second because it's going to be really easy to plug this in, but we're going to leave that blank for now, okay? We're going to circle back though, don't worry. Now, the next step is going to be going into advanced settings. And here you're going to want to make sure that no, set this channel as not made for kids. I almost never upload content that's made for kids. You want to set, okay, you don't want to have yes on, you don't want to have whatever this is on. You just want no. So the middle button, okay? And then you don't need to link an account because you're not doing any paid ads. We do all organic here, okay? That's all we promote here on this channel. So yeah, and then automatic dubbing, you can leave this on. It doesn't matter. You can leave it as is. Disable interest-based ads. Don't need to worry about that. Allow viewers to clip my content. You can leave that on. More exposure is better. Let YouTube enhance visual quality. You can leave that on. All of these settings you can leave on. Just copy it how I have here, because even though this is not a type B channel, I apply these settings to every YouTube channel in general. So I'm just using this channel as like an example to show you what to do. And I even have it all blank here so I can really show you guys what to do with your title format and your description format, everything. So anyway, after that, you're going to go to feature eligibility, and you want to make sure that all of these are on. So all you have to do is just link your phone number and you'll verify it. And you're not actually linking your phone number, you're just using it to verify that you're a human. So you can use anyone's phone number for this. A lot of people will run into the problem where they use their phone number twice in 1 year, and YouTube doesn't allow you to use it more times than that, because a lot of people in the type beat space, they create multiple type beat channels. So that's the thing. You might run into that problem, but I've asked everyone in my family, I've asked my friends, sometimes I pay people 10, 15 bucks here and there just to use their phone number to get that verification code. So there's ways around it, but yeah, so those are some of the methods I use when I reach that roadblock. And then advanced features, you know, you just do this. I always do the video verification. You just film your face for like 6 seconds, automatically sends it over to YouTube, and they review it usually in about 24 or 48 hours. So that allows you to put your links in the description, which is really important if you're selling beats, because you want to be able to promote the beat. That's how you sell them, right? And so YouTube is really great for that. And then, yeah, so you have your intermediate features, which is really important as well. This allows you to actually give your videos thumbnails. And in the type beat space, you'll probably be sick of me saying it by now, but you always want to be changing your thumbnails and analyzing your data and making improvements after the video has been uploaded. So that's why this is a really important setting to have on. Hey guys, real quick, I'm actually hosting a free live workshop this week where I'm going to show you in depth how to grow a Typee channel and how to optimize it and monetize it properly so that you can build a sustainable beat selling business for yourself. It's a completely free workshop with a ton of free templates, resources, and overall, it's a very valuable training that I've prepared. So if that interests you, feel free to sign up down in the description below. But with that being said, let's get right back to the video. Now, we have covered the basics. So now I'm going to dive into dialing in the title. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys like a rule of thumb with just titling and having good SEO as well. Eventually, I'm going to make a more in-depth video on just this, like just SEO and kind of how to rank. If you guys want that, you can comment down below. Let me know because I do listen to you guys' feedback. But you're going to want to dial in the title. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back to the YouTube studio. We're going to go to upload defaults. Okay, so this is where you're going to set up your channel. Now, you don't usually ever need to change this. The only time you change it is, let's say you have like 2026 in the title, you know, Typee 2026. You're going to just change the year if the new year comes around. That's the only time you're really going to change this, because when you go into creating a channel, you should already know what niche you're going to do. And if you struggle with niches and stuff like that, you know, I have many videos on actually finding your niche and stuff. You can check my channel for that. I have tons of resources for that. So I'm going to assume you already know your niche, and you should know that, you know, just a quick little tip. Whenever you create a channel, you should have already known what niche you're going to go for. Otherwise, there's no point of creating a new channel. So if you're watching this and watching it while you're creating a new channel to make sure you're doing everything right, I know that's what you're doing, but make sure you actually know the niche before you do all this, okay? Because you're going to want to set this and forget it, all right? So let's say you want to do Drake, just as an example. I don't recommend it because it's really competitive, but let's just say we're doing that. A good rule of thumb is you're just going to do free Drake type beat, right? And then we're going to just have the beat name there. And this is usually how I'm doing my titles. Now, there are certain cases where with different algorithms and different niches, I will do a different title format, but roughly this is how it is. It's free. Maybe sometimes I'll be doing the parentheses, right? Depending on the niche, it does change, or I'll be doing this in lowercase, but generally like you want to do free, artist name, type beat, and then beat name. It doesn't really change. Now, SEO is a different thing because yeah, your title really does matter for the SEO, but it gets a little different with the description and your tags. Okay, so I'm going to go into that. Well, actually, before I go into that, I want to touch up a little bit more on the titles so that you understand this. The reason why it's different for your titles, the reason why maybe some titles I'll do lowercase or some titles I'll do uppercase is because the niche is different or the aesthetic is different, and it really plays into where you get positioned into the algorithm. Now, I've actually touched up on this many times before with how the algorithm actually works at a fundamental level. And if you look, right, it's typically based on the thumbnail. The thumbnail is what will position you into the algorithm, but the actual title is also what will position you in a certain algorithm. And what you might be confused, what do I mean by algorithms? I thought there's just one algorithm. Unfortunately, this gets a bit more nerdy. So just to break it down briefly, we have the R&B algorithm, then we have the hood algorithm, that's what I call it, right? We have the drug/smoking algorithm, which is just pictures like this. I'm sure you've seen it. We have the artist algorithm, which is just a picture of the artist itself. You'll see that a lot. And these are really just formats, okay? So I call them algorithms. They're also just formats. Then we have the worldwide mainstream algorithm, and I'm sure you've seen a ton of these pictures if you're in the Type Beat game. So this is for like the freestyle, trap beats, stuff like that. So you can feel free to screenshot this just as like an additional resource. But the thing is, the way you title the videos does matter, okay? So if I'm doing a R&B type beat, I'm going to keep the title very, very simple. I'm probably going to do just free R&B type beat the same way that I titled this format here, okay? So I would probably do it the same way. I would do free R&B type beat, just like that. And if I was going more micro niched, which a lot of you guys have heard me talk about that before, then I would add more keywords. And that's where, you know, the long tail method kind of comes in, and you can add more keywords to it. But in this case, I'm just using one just as an example, right? But if I was to do freestyle beats, that's where it gets different. So in this case, I would probably do something more like this. See, I wouldn't actually even put free at the start there. The reason why is because you want to do it differently. You want to keyword stuff way more with freestyle beats because you're going after a significantly more competitive niche. So you have to try a lot harder. And in this case, it's also like, it's acceptable acceptable to keyword stuff with this niche. So every niche is different. You honestly just have to look it up and see what the niche is and see how other people are titling to see what's kind of like acceptable or works best in that niche. So me, I know every niche so well. I already know how people are titling and keyword stuffing with every niche. Like, so I already know off the top of my head, I can literally create this title here, and I already know people actually capitalize the beat name and only the beat name when they do freestyle beats. And they usually do it like free type beat 2026 and then rap trap beat instrumental. So if we look at the top videos on freestyle beat, you'll see that I'm probably right with how they're doing the titles. So freestyle beat, then it's caps, trap instrumental. Okay, so this one's a little bit different, but in general, okay, freestyle beat, capital beat name, free type beat. Yep. So it's like identical to what I just wrote out. But as you can see, everybody is doing it like this. Like everyone is doing these keywords just like this because that is what works for this specific niche. But if you look up Young Nudie X Lucky, you're going to notice that all the titles are lowercase and they're all titled like this. Every single, it doesn't matter who's doing it. So the title is also what will position you in the algorithm. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to get across here. So let's go back to our original example and go with Drake as our example here. And now that we've covered dialing in the title and you should understand kind of the basics with that, let's dive into dialing in the description. Okay. So with the description, I'll just use one of my main channels as a reference. So this is one of my main channels. Let's just go to this video here. And this is kind of just a very basic description format that you can go with. We're actually going to customize this a bit better because honestly, I was lazy with this one. Somehow it still blew up just because I know how to make the videos really good to blow up. I know everything that goes with that, which sometimes is what can actually get around the whole SEO optimization stuff, which this is definitely still SEO optimized. But to be honest, I was a little bit lazy with this one. So we're just going to use this as a starting base so that we can have the basics covered, which is just like the purchase link, stuff like that. Now, as you're going to see, what I was doing is I was actually promoting another video. And this is a strategy that I actually go with in all of my Type Beat channels, whether that's my students or my own. What we do is what I call the flywheel strategy. So what you do is you take one of your videos, either a video that you want to promote, a video with a high CPM, which is just how much the video generates per 1,000 views. So it would make sense to want to funnel people to that video since it makes the most money, or you want to funnel people to a video that just is generating you the most sales, or, you know, it can be whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is that people are clicking this. So you want to take one of your videos and you're just going to link it here. Okay. So you're going to paste the link to the video here. And I especially do this within the first 4 weeks or even up to 8 weeks, however long it takes to get a channel off the ground. So this is the strategy I go with, which is why I'm going to want you to do it as well. First link in the description. This is what causes your session time to go crazy and ultimately get you in the algorithm. And if you've done everything correctly, which is, you know, finding a profitable niche that also is untapped and easy to get into, and then you apply just the SEO strategies that I'm laying out and how to set up your channel properly. If you do this with the flywheel strategy, it's a lot easier to get into the algorithm. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it does make it a lot easier. So then you're just going to want to have the purchase link here as well. And you can just lay it out like that. It's very simple. How you lay it out doesn't really matter, but this is just a good looking purchase link. It looks professional. Remember, you want to position yourself as a premium. Now from here, you're going to want to put your email. You're going to want to put your Instagram as well, right? You do want people to be able to reach out to you. Okay. So you can link your Instagram. You can link your beat store as well, just your overall site or any type of funnel that you're doing. Maybe you're doing like a funnel where you're funneling people to some type of service, whether that's custom beats or something. You can link them here, but you generally want like 3 links under the Connect with Me tab. Okay. So that's kind of what I would put there. And then from here, we're going to put in the title of the video. So what I'm going to do, just paste this bad boy right here. Now, here's where it gets a bit nerdier, which is where we have the actual tags in the description along with the hashtags. So people get it confused. They'll think that the hashtags is what we mean by tags. Nope. Those are 2 completely different things and they serve 2 completely different purposes. I'll break it down. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of this and we're going to start from scratch. So if we go to one of my other channels here, you'll see that the strategy I went with, and I kind of started this strategy in terms of at least popularizing it because this was actually the first Type Beat channel that I blew up to insane numbers. So I started doing a description format where I was actually stuffing the keywords inside of a paragraph to avoid spam and also be able to expand my reach and get positioned underneath all these other keywords. Now, this meta doesn't really work anymore in terms of like you you were able to put a bunch of keywords in this paragraph and be able to just rank under it. Doesn't really work that way anymore, unfortunately. It was a crazy meta though at the time. But what still works is the paragraph method, but just filling in with all the keywords that actually apply to the type of beat you're doing. So let's say you're doing Drake, you can put free Drake type beat, just like I did with free Big Scar type beat. You can put Drake type beat 2021 or 2026 now. Wow, it's a while ago. It's actually crazy to think how long I've been doing this, but yeah, so you can stuff the keywords in that sense. And that's the same strategy that we went with my client Kieran here. So what we did is we also did a little paragraph here that stacked all the keywords, which is what he was doing. And as you can see, I'm not just lying about the title format. This is exactly what we go with a lot of the channels that end up being successful. Sorry, Kieran, I'm going to copy your description here, even though I made it for you, but we would just replace this with our keyword. And obviously whatever beat you're making, it might not actually apply to atmospheric or, you know, some of these other keywords. You have to actually write this paragraph out and make it make sense with exactly what you're doing. But in this case, this is how you're going to do it, right? This is a smooth atmospheric Drake type beat inspired by his dark R&B and hip hop style. That makes sense, right? If this was more of that dark R&B or Take Care, Nothing Was the Same sound, then that would make sense. Perfect for artists looking for a free Drake type beat 2026. Let's change that. A modern type beat 2026 or an emotional instrumental hip hop vibe. And yeah, so you just kind of go down the list. You're just stacking keywords inside of this, avoiding spam, and ultimately getting placed under these keywords if the video is actually good, right? If it has a high average view duration, high click-through rate, and so on and so forth. So then you're going to want to have your visibility set under unlisted. And actually one last thing we're going to do is set up the hashtag. So we're going to go with hashtag Drake type beat. And then if we're just doing one keyword, we'll do hashtag free type beat and then hashtag type beat. So that makes sense. This is also more evergreen because we're not putting the year in any of this. We don't have to change that later down the line. Makes our lives easier. And it's also the 3 main keywords that you want to target. So it's good to have that as a hashtag as well. Okay. Now for the tags, I actually have a little resource that you can screenshot here if you'd like, but this is where I usually plug in the data for any type of channel that I'm going for. So we have keyword type beat, free keyword type beat. We have it all here, right? So since I already have Drake as an example, it's usually an example I use. I'm just going to copy and paste this, right? But you have it here. You guys can screenshot it and that's here. So you can also use ChatGPT to replace the keyword with the artist names. And it's just really easy to go about this. So this is actually a document that I share with my coaching clients. So I'm not going to expose the whole thing. I'm just going to expose this little section, give it away for free because it's really useful. So let's go ahead and plug that in there. I know it says 2025 and it's 2026. You get the point, but this is how you dial in your tags. It's very simple, very easy, right? If you follow that resource that I just gave you there. So that's how you're going to want to do this. And then for a channel, you can go ahead and remember I said we'd come back to this. Guess what? We're going to paste that right there. So boom, you should now have your upload defaults dialed in. And so we're just going to hit save on this. And now you will have everything dialed. Now let's dive into the actual uploading process when we go ahead and upload a video. All right, so I'm uploading a video here. As you can see, just like that, everything is already here. I didn't have to do anything, crazy here. It's just already here. You can now add your thumbnail. This is where you'll drag and drop your thumbnail. You can A/B test your thumbnails here and add it to a playlist. So if you want to create a playlist, you can hit playlist right here, hit create playlist, new playlist, and then you can do the name. You can do whatever your name is, producer name, artist beats, something like that. You can just put like 7 or 10 videos inside this playlist and you can set it to public just like that. Hit create. You can also add keywords in the description, basically the same paragraph as in your description on the videos. You can just add that here as well. So we'd hit create, boom, just like that. And then now the video will go underneath that playlist. So just wanted to touch up on that as well. Now you're going to scroll down to the altered content section. You're just going to click no on this every time. Okay. So now you don't have to worry about any of this other stuff. You can leave this on people and blogs. You can leave it under anything. It does not matter. It won't affect anything. I never change any of this. Okay, now we're going to hit next. And what actually matters is your end screen. So under the video element section, we'll be changing that. But first, we want to change the actual beat name. So let's say the beat name is Aqua. Put Aqua under there. And then we'd also add that under the description as well. So boom, then we'd add the purchase link, whatever, we'd fill in all these links here. But other than that, Now for your end screen, you're just going to want to go into the video, or you can go to video elements here and then hit add an end screen, hit add, you'll be taken to the same page. Now I have to wait for the video to process here. So in order to save time, I'm going to go into one of my other videos. So if you're uploading a video, you can upload it as unlisted, and then you can not actually upload the video yet, but you can access the same page. So you just go to editor and then end screen right here, hit add end screen, hit video, and then you can go to choose a specific video. I usually like to either do the same video that I'm promoting in my description as the first link, or I do a just as my most recent upload. Either one, you're just going to want to make it as big as possible, drag it to the center, and then you can change it to the last 5 seconds or to 15 seconds. I like to go right in the middle at around 7.5 seconds. So we just hit save after that, and then boom, 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 you're good. Now you have the end screen dialed in, and that is important to actually boost your session time. And a lot of my views on all my Type Beat channels actually do come from the end screen. I wouldn't say like all of them, but definitely a good amount to where it definitely is worth it. Now to end the video, now that we've covered everything with the actual uploading process, I now want to move on to phase 4 of this little course and talk about what to avoid after you upload a video. So the first thing is going to be deleting a video. You should never be deleting a video right after or after a few days just because it didn't get many views. The main thing I want to really touch up on is like, guys, your views is not what matters at the start at all. And I know it's so hard to just ignore it when you're seeing 0 views every single day. It sucks. I know that. I've been there many, many times, and every time I start a new channel, I also have to deal with it over and over again, which is why I've kind of become numb to it at this point. But as long as you know that even professionals in the Type Beat game like myself, I call myself a professional. I've done this so long and have gotten pretty good results. So not to sound egotistical, but I still see 0 views when I start a brand new channel. It doesn't matter how good you are at this or not. The algorithm is the algorithm. No matter how good you are, you're never just going to get a bunch of views off the rip. That's just not how it works. So the only metrics you should be focused on is your click-through rate, your watch time, your retention, right? Your average view duration. All of that stuff is what you should be focused on, not the views. Okay, so don't delete a video just because you want to change the thumbnail or something, right? You can just change the thumbnail by going into the details of the video inside your YouTube Studio. Right? You can go right here, and then you can change the thumbnail right here, right? It literally has the option to be changed. You'd be surprised how many people ask me, oh, should I delete my video if I want to change the thumbnail? It's like, that's literally why I'm making this video, because I wanted to cover the basics so that no one can be left behind with this stuff. So yeah, don't delete a video just because it's not performing the way you'd want it to. Give it some time. And the thing is, you know, what I've noticed myself is videos can flatline and not really get much traction. Obviously, this video had 500,000 views, but it can flatline for like 6 months straight, and then all of a sudden get another 1,000,000 views, right? It can grow out of nowhere. This video flatlined again for like a year straight, and now it's picking up again. So the algorithm moves weird, right? It picks up at certain times. It's random when it comes to actually picking you up, but it will always pick you up if you do the right things, which is optimizing your content to actually grow, which is why I want to cover all of that in today's video. So hopefully this gives you an idea, like it doesn't just instantly happen. And I'll show you another example. This video here didn't perform that well at all, considering that this channel already had like 10,000 subscribers when I dropped this video. And after 5 days or after 3 days, it didn't even have 1,000 views yet. But this video exponentially started to grow and eventually picked up on the algorithm after like 3-4 weeks. That's when it started hitting in the algorithm. Imagine if I just deleted it after those 3 days where it didn't even touch 1,000 views, which was really low for this channel at the time. Imagine if I just deleted it or tried to mess around with it and change the thumbnail by deleting it and re-uploading it, or like, you know, it's best to leave it alone sometimes and let the algorithm actually do its thing. Because look what happens when you do that. And you know, it started to slow down a bit more and then started to pick up here, right? So the videos or the algorithm kind of comes in ways with how it wants to promote the video, but this should just show you the beauty of YouTube. I released this video almost 4 years ago and it still gets over 1,000 views every 48 hours. These videos are evergreen, guys. They are evergreen, and the more videos you compound, right, the more videos you add to your channel's library, the more you build up like this, right, it becomes a sustainable business. And so that's why you shouldn't worry about the views at the start. You shouldn't care about that, because your focus should be how many videos am I putting out. And also, also how many improvements am I making to these videos? Every single video I drop, I should have improved something, even just a little bit, so that by the time you reach your 100th video, you've made 100 improvements. And that's how you get better. And that's ultimately how you grow. Okay, so don't worry about the views. Don't delete your video if it underperforms. Stick to the plan, stick to the process, and ultimately stick to the fundamentals. So that's the first tip. Second tip is going to be your uploading time. So a lot of producers will make this mistake. They'll think, oh, I can just drop whenever I want, but YouTube actually gives you data. They're actually nice enough to tell you exactly when to drop your beats, right? So they show you when your audience is active. And so for me, it makes sense to drop at 11 a.m. because that's when the trend of my audience becoming active starts. So it would make sense for me to drop at 11 a.m. And just a good rule of thumb is 11 a.m. PST. That's like a pretty good time. And I usually tell my coaching students the same thing. So anyway, though, you should be having a set upload time. And so you should stick to it every single day. Or let's say you're uploading Monday, Wednesday, Friday, stick to that same upload time on those days. Okay. The next thing you should never do is just watch your video after posting it. Okay. So I'm not saying you can't do this at all, but a lot of people will click on the video to add their purchase link or something like that, and then they'll click off, and it's like you just gave yourself 3-second average view duration, and you'll be like the first viewer too. So it's like you're killing your video's performance right away by doing that. And so the only way you should watch your own video after posting it is if you're actually going to watch it all the way through. Okay, but otherwise, like, I don't really recommend doing that. It's not really going to push you in the algorithm. So honestly, I just kind of would avoid this altogether. Okay, now another thing you should never do is not utilize community posts. Community posts is a really great way to engage your current audience and promote every time you have a new beat, right? Because every new beat is a new chance to grow your channel further. So you want to let your audience know about it. And the reason why, okay, community posts have become really, really powerful as of lately because YouTube promotes your video based on one thing. And that's if your audience, if your own subscribers actually like the video, if they are clicking on the video. If your own audience doesn't want to click on the video, YouTube will not push it out to anyone else. Why would they, right? If your own subscribers don't care, why would anyone else? So when you promote your video to your community with community posts, then you're basically getting all your subscribers to click on the video, which then causes YouTube to push it out to more people. So even if only 4 of your subscribers click on the video, YouTube might push it out to 40 people, right? Because of that. And so you just want to do that because it's going to increase your channel's reach. And as the channel grows, this becomes even more powerful. So that's one thing you should be doing, especially after you upload the video. And then another thing you should never do is share the link. Okay, so I know it's tempting to want to share the link with your friends, your family, the people that do support you, but this will kill your channel because they don't care about the beats, right? They don't truly, like, they're not actively watching that stuff. And so what will happen is even if they do actually listen to the beat all the way through, what happens is YouTube knows their account. They know what they're usually watching. And so if that's the first time they've clicked on a Drake type beat, for example, right? They're going to push it out to more people like that YouTube account. They're going to push it out to more people that have never watched Drake type beats before. You see what I'm getting at? Like, so you end up actually hurting yourself by doing this because you're pushing yourself out to the wrong audience. You're making it harder for YouTube to find your ideal audience. And trust me, it's already hard enough. So even if you spell it out in the title, what type of beat it is, it's hard enough. So don't make it any harder. That's just me looking out. Okay. Now, next is going to be buying botted views or group chat boosting. You never want to do this. Okay. I don't care who tries to get you into this. It's not good because you're going to kill your channel. Number one, you're never going to find your ideal customers and you're just going to lead to being on a hamster wheel of trying to buy views in order to find your ideal customers, and it never actually happens. And you're left spending money on something that has zero ROI. Oh, but you have some big numbers. Great. But what does it really mean? You know, there's no sustainability to it. Organic just beats it any day of the week. I mean, you've seen my results with organic, so I don't really see how buying views is necessary, especially when, like, you can't even monetize off it really. So I'm pretty against buying views or doing any group chat boosting, especially because, again, it just goes back to YouTube knows who's watching the videos, and if it's people that have never watched those type of videos or don't watch type beats in general, guess what? It's going to promote your videos to more people that don't watch type beat videos and don't care. So you're just killing your channel, and you're killing your chances at ever seeing any organic success. So that's just my thoughts there. Now, the last thing is going to be obsessing over your views. This ties back to the first thing I was talking about. But again, you should never be obsessing over your views. You should be obsessing over the metrics that actually control your view count. Okay. So that's just me looking out for you. Like, don't obsess over it because it's just going to fry your mental. I've been there so many times when I've been constantly refreshing my YouTube Studio, or I'd be sitting in class on the YouTube Studio app, just checking my views, and it'd be 0. And I'd be like, wow, maybe this just isn't meant for me. And it's like, guys, do not focus on the views unless you want to be miserable. Okay. So that's my best advice to you guys. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys. Have a good night, guys. I'm wishing you the best. Take care.